Hello, everybody. My name is Reese Lindmark, and I'm one of the co-organizers of ETHDenver, and I do a podcast called Creating a Humanist Blockchain Future. But this is not a podcast of that. This is just a podcast of the ETHDenver schedule. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of run through the schedule and give a high-level overview for what to expect and what we're thinking. So before I do that, first I want to say thank you all for your interest. Also, thank you for the flexibility and your patience with us. It's been a lot of work. We're pretty overwhelmed by the amount of interest and the amount of excitement, and we both love that, and we're both working through that. So thank you so much for your patience and flexibility with us, and hope that we can create a great event for you. I also just want to say thank you for all the speakers and workshop folks and judges and people who are coming out. Thank you to all the sponsors for sponsoring the event. It's a free event because of them. So thank you to them. Also, thank you to my co-organizers and to just the rest of the Ethereum community, especially people like ETH Global, for helping us work through a lot of the smaller details here. Yeah, so with that, let's kind of dive in. But before diving in, I just want to do a quick note that there's a lot of content here, and we're aware of that. I, as the organizer of the content, am very aware of that. There's 50 workshops, there's 16 panels. It's a lot, but we do really want to emphasize that this is not a conference, that this is a hackathon, and that we think of it from three pillars. So there is kind of the educational pillar, and that's what a lot of this content is all about. But there's also the building pillar, which is the hacking, the coding stuff, doing design, all that side, and then also the community pillar, which is hey, meeting with friends, meeting new friends, hanging out, that kind of thing. So when going through this, there's going to be a lot of content out there, and you're going to have FOMO at the event. At the event all the time, you're going to be asking yourself, oh man, should I go to this workshop? Should I go to this panel? Should I hack? Should I hang out? There are no right answers here. But in general, a lot of the workshops and things, they'll be live streamed, so don't feel the need to go to every single thing unless that's really your jam. So yeah, just wanted to give that kind of high level overview before we dive in. Yeah, so let's talk about what's exactly happening at kind of a high level, and then we're going to go through all the content, all those 50 workshops in kind of a lightning fast mode. I don't think you need to see my face anymore, so let's make that go away. So at a high level, we have on Friday, registration opens in the morning. We have a pre-hack with a bunch of these kind of intro workshops that go after lunch, and then they hang out right before kind of a team formation time and dinner. And then we have an opening ceremony for 2.5 hours. And during that opening ceremony, a quick note is that that is going to be the time we're going to learn about a bunch of the different sponsors and the bounties that they're sponsoring. So all of them are going to be, or a lot of them are going to be saying, hey, if you want to build on top of us, or if you want to use our protocol, you can do that and get a prize. So that'll all be happening kind of in this opening ceremony. There's going to be kind of 15 to 25 different kind of sponsor prizes that exist. So there's a lot. And if you think about this pre-hack workshop as kind of the intro side, then after that on Friday night is when all of the kind of specific sponsor workshops start happening. So this is a lot of these are essentially how to build on top of or use these platforms. So that goes on Friday night, and then it also goes Saturday morning. There are a couple of these. And then after the morning, we have a break. And then Saturday during the day is when we have these panels. So this is for about 4 hours from 1:30 to 5:30. We have a bunch of these different panels on different things, and these aren't going to be hacking focused. They're not going to be educationally focused from hey, here's how you build on top of us, or do design for this or whatever. Instead, it's going to be much more kind of high level and kind of public facing. So that happens on Saturday in the afternoon before dinner, and then we have the opportunities fair where you can chat with the various people who want to give you a job or who you're trying to get a job from. And then after that, we have these kind of final workshops that are kind of less about directly building and more kind of general workshops. So that happens Saturday night, and then Sunday, submissions are due at 8 a.m. Or sorry, not 8 a.m., 10 a.m. 10 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m. One more time, 10 a.m. So that happens on Sunday, and then we have judging, and then we have the closing ceremony. and then we have a break, and then we have the after party. So that is at a high level what's happening. So with that in mind, I think we should essentially just kind of run through these things. Are you ready? I am ready. Okay, let's go. So all these pre-hack workshops. I'm going to talk about them first as the ones that are on the ETH stage, because those are mostly coding focused. So this is Intro to Ethers.io, which is done by Hasib from BlockGeeks, and this is about a kind of a simpler way to interact with the Ethereum blockchain. Then we're going to dive into Intro to Solidity, and that is at a higher level, and that's with Hasib and Hudson from the Ethereum Foundation. And then we're going to go intro to Viper, and Viper is like a Python-based language to interact with the Ethereum blockchain. So it's kind of like Solidity is to JavaScript, as Viper is to Python. And David Knott will be giving that presentation. Then we're going to talk about smart contract development with Open Zeppelin, and that's with Santiago and Manuel. And then we have, after that, smart contract security with the modular team and some consensus folks. And then after that, kind of a dive into some of the tooling here, especially around Truffle, using smart contracts. And this is with Alexi from Zerion. After that, we have ENS, which is Ethereum Name Service, and IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System, or File Storage. And that's Leonard from ENS and Hasib, again, from BlockGeeks. That's Hasib's third, that's his third workshop, if you're counting. Yeah, so this is ENS and IPFS, which kind of help you store your data on the blockchain with IPFS and then access it with ENS, which is like a kind of like a domain name service, but instead for Ethereum. And then Elena, who's actually from Airbnb, is going to be talking about non-fungible tokens. These are things like CryptoKitties, where one Bitcoin is equal to another Bitcoin. They are fungible, but non-fungible means that one CryptoKitty or one playing card or one baseball card or one collectible is not equal to another one. So she's going to talk about that. And then Lucille's going to talk about addressing a global audience, trying to kind of look more deeply about the audiences that you address in this new decentralized world. So that's kind of the pre-hack workshops from a coding perspective. But again, at ETHDenver, we're also trying to push some like non-coding perspectives as well. And so that's what these other ones are that are on the way stage. And so this is getting set up with crypto in 45 minutes. This is with Lindsay from ERC Dex. So this is talking about centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, hardware wallets, all of the above as a way to kind of get your crypto and know how to get set up with it. Then we're going to talk about decentralized governance with Luke from Aragon. So that's kind of trying to understand some of these governance things, and you'll see that kind of as a theme at ETHDenver. Then Justin Ellis from Ideas by Nature, and also maybe Connie from Coinbase will be talking about design thinking and UX design to kind of add that into your project. And then Jess and Josh from this thing called Integral Center, they're going to be talking about kind of, not just on a lot of times when we think about coding stuff, we're just like, okay, what are the systems in code? What's happening there? But this is much more about kind of like humans and saying, hey, how can we as humans relate to each other authentically and like build coherence to make sure that we're aligned and can like move quickly. So that's what they're going to be talking about. Then this is Finney, Sean, and Saul Hudson. They are from the IXO Foundation, going to be talking about impact and how to understand value and money and capital in order to make sure that, hey, what kind of value are you trying to create in the world? Then Andrew is going to talk about systems thinking. So this is kind of a personal favorite of mine. And it is thinking about complex system dynamics, how to understand these co-evolving systems, because blockchain kind of has a lot of that built into it. Then Kirk from Consensus is going to talk about Project Management 101, and this is essentially just like, hey, how can we make sure that you complete something at the end of 36 hours? That's going to be Kirk's goal. So I think that'll be a really fun one. Then this is Alison Diaz from the Theo Foundation, just talking about, designing your life and finding your path. So this is more of like an introspective, how to know what you're doing in the future kind of thing. And then finally, Michael Sean Conway is going to be talking about working towards the UN's kind of sustainable development goals, and that as another kind of way to think about impact. So that is the pre-hack workshops. After that, you can do some team formation. AKA, if you haven't made a team yet, you can kind of get together with them and determine what team you're going to be on. And that's going to be like a structured exercise that we do as a group to kind of facilitate that. Then there's a dinner, either a specific diversity dinner with Maiden if you want to go, if you're part of a traditionally diverse background, or if you want to be an ally or what have you, you can go to that dinner or hang out and do dinner by yourself by yourself or with whoever else at the venue itself. Then we're going to have this opening ceremony with keynotes and all those sponsors talking about the bounties that they're doing, and then we'll have a little bit of bonus team formation time after that. Then here's where more direct sponsor things start. I'm still here. Hello. Here's how more direct. These are much more directly about here's a sponsor. Here's how you build on top of their API kind of a thing. So this is going to be a combination one, which I think will be fun, about the 0x ecosystem, which is kind of a decentralized exchange atomic swap protocol. And so 0x is going to be talking, and then ERCDEX, which is a thing called a relayer, and then Dharma, which is a way to do kind of lending, and then Lendroid, which is kind of a more specific version of that, like decentralized margin lending specifically. So they're going to be talking about how to build on top of their things. Then Matan Field from DAOstack will be talking about decentralized governance, and then Luke Duncan from Aragon will be talking about decentralized governance. So it'll be kind of a decentralized governance take on if you're not hacking on these things, you can be hacking on governance problems as well. Then Andy from Maker is going to be talking about MakerDAO and how to use their stablecoin and things like that. Christian Gossett is going to be talking about storytelling, essentially. He says, become a writer in like 20-something minutes. This is going to be this kind of these storytelling prize that we're giving out for people to, make and build stories about the future and the Ethereum future and what that looks like. So I think that'll be really exciting. And then this one I'm also super excited about. This is Peter and Sid. Peter's from Cypher Browser, Sid is from Coinbase, and they're going to be talking about the best practices for building mobile dApps. And that's especially important because it's a way to create more impact in the world, because so much of the world has smartphones, not computers. And then finally, Ben and Valeria and Robert will be talking about blockchain for social impact in a way to make sure that your hack is trying to be as social impacty as possible. And a quick note, yes, these do go from midnight to midnight 30. That's what hackathons are all about. That late night, being up late kind of thing. Okay, let's look at Saturday. Saturday in the morning, again, we have the kind of sponsor workshop. So this is deploying dApps with POA, this proof of authority network. That's with Igor, and this is a fascinating way to essentially get like kind of a variant on scaling and kind of faster validation times and things. McLean from NewCypher is going to be talking about how to use NewCypher, which is a way to essentially encrypt your data and then also delegate other people to look at that data. So imagine like health records or whatever, you might need to use something like NewCypher. Then Adam and Ivan will be talking about Status, giving an overview on Status as a kind of a mobile browser and how to use things like Whisper, which is a messaging protocol that they're working on. And then we're going to talk about storage. So this is a way, kind of like IPFS, to kind of store your data in a decentralized way. Then B is going to be talking. So this is about, this is essentially a decentralized Airbnb and how to kind of build on top of them. This is Ken from KeepKey, and this is about coding for like a hardware wallet, something like KeepKey. So I think this will be an interesting one that's not like direct Solidity, but is rather probably like coding in C or something like that. Then Fabiano from CryptoKitties. Oh my God, CryptoKitties. He'll be talking about those non-fungible tokens, and specifically ERC 721, which is kind of the standard that you use in order to build non-fungible tokens. So build all the CryptoKitties you want with ERC 721. Ruven from Uport's going to be talking about self-sovereign identity and how to incorporate Uport in with your apps. And then right before lunch, we have two final ones. Kendall and Craig are from Quarry, which is this decentralized kind of like an incentivized Q&A network, kind of like a incentivized Stack Overflow. But they'll specifically be talking about building what it's like to build these complex decentralized applications. And then finally, this is another one close to my personal heart. Mike and Jesse will be talking about token curated registries, which is a new kind of way to kind of curate information to say, hey, here's a list, and then you allow the crowd to determine what is actually on that list. So that's going to be fun and fascinating too. Then we take a break. And then we go to panels. So panels are, there's a bunch of these panels. I'll run through them kind of quick. Token-based business models should be good. That's just, in our moderators, I'm excited by our moderators. Ryan Selkis is one. He's was at Digital Currency Group, then was at Coinbase, then was at Consensus, and now is flying solo. Evan Van Ness is a moderator, the Week in Ethereum curator. I'm a moderator, which is going to be just awesome, or not, or all the above. I think it'd be fun. Then Lee Kuhn from International Business Times is also going to be our final moderator. So these are the panels that are happening: token-based business models, designing crypto economic systems, kind of more on the kind of coding mechanism design side, building the next system. This is like a hyper kind of abstracted, like what does it look to do massive system change kind of thing. Pipelines for blockchain education. This is looking at all the different ways that we're trying to get more people into blockchain. Decentralized governance at kind of a high level. Also with Robin Hanson there, who's the creator of Futarchy, which is going to be exciting. And then we're going to be talking about infrastructure, all the different parts of building a decentralized stack. That one will be great. Art and games on the blockchain. These are a bunch of different interesting things that people are building that are incorporating the blockchain into art and the blockchain into games. Pushing the crypto adoption curve, seeing where we're at going forward in terms of how to get more and more people to adopt. And then both from kind of like a UX perspective, a branding perspective, and also just like a hardware wallet perspective. Then kind of a high-level overview on the 0x protocol, investing in crypto assets with, various very smart, hedge fund managers, crypto hedge fund managers. This is on blockchain-based community and structure. This is kind of looking at the different ways that we think about community and how blockchain has a different kind of take on that. And then we also have thinking about power and decentralization and diversity. These are pretty these concepts are kind of baked into crypto, and so we're going to kind of do a dive on those as well. Finally, we're going to look at the Colorado blockchain community specifically, moderated by Colorado's very own Kent Barton. And then finally, we're going to look at scaling. And scaling is always a big topic. So we're going to look at that from a bunch of kind of different perspectives here. We're going to look at Ethereum, especially from the open source perspective, and especially from kind of a global, like ETH global perspective. And then we're going to look at smart contract-based investing. So this is specific ways that smart contracts allow you to do different kinds of investing. And with that, then we have this opportunities fair where you get to chat with folks about what you're interested in, what they're interested in. And then after that, these final kind of workshops here. So this is Robin Hanson, who's talking about this his new book called Elephant in the Brain, which is a fascinating take on the inner, how we essentially self-deceive ourselves. So that'll be fun. Alex Miller's going to be talking about these new kinds of EVM bridges and relay networks that he's working on. Elena from Crypto Chicks is going to be talking about identity, diversity, and inclusion and understanding how to kind of bake them into your project. Liam's going to be talking about his generalized state channels that he's working on. We're going to be talking about power with Stephen and Boima from Amentum and how to think about power, how to kind of think about power shifts, things like that. Doug from Live here is going to be talking about bonding and staking. So this is some of like the deeper work around models for thinking about bonding, models for thinking about staking. James, who's the community leader for MetaMask, is going to be talking about online community building and how to do that, which is honestly a crucial thing for your hack. If you're building something, it's like making sure you have a great online community is a key part of that. And then finally, Kyle's going to be talking about some of his new models for utility tokens. And then on Sunday, submissions are due 10 a.m., not 8 a.m. Judging happens. So judging will occur. Judging, again, as a reminder, there's ETHDenver general judging, Hello. There's ETHDenver kind of general judging, and then there's also specific sponsor prizes as well. So those are going to be happening in parallel at this time. And then we'll have a closing ceremony, celebrate the projects who won, and then do this kind of interesting governors panel with various like politicians and folks from Colorado. We're going to have this break, and during this break, we actually do all need to leave the venue, just as a heads up, because we need to rearrange everything for the after party. Yeah, cool. So that is what's happening at ETHDenver. I hope that was helpful at giving you a high-level overview about what is going down. And again, I just want to reemphasize that a lot of what we talked about there was, when you think about those 3 pillars, a lot of what we talked about was the kind of educational pillar there, the education and learning piece. But remember, there's the building pillar, and there's going to be a lot of people hanging out on, beanbag chairs, on the floor, doing whatever, just coding. Some people might have their headphones on for 36 straight hours. I don't know. But definitely a lot of building happening, and then also a lot of the community piece. So this is, meeting new people, reconnecting with old friends, all that stuff as well. Connecting to the local community that's around us, giving back to charity, things like that. That's also part of the community piece. Whew. So with that, thank you again for listening. I hope that was helpful, and see you in a week. Okay. And again, let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc. Great. Bye.